Hi, I'm Nikki and I'm here with flood relief concert organiser Todd. Hi Todd, thanks for joining us on Undercurrent.
Thank you.
So tell us about how the concert came about.
Concert came about because I've been inundated with television pictures from Queensland that just blew me away. And I saw one particular picture that grabbed me and threw me across the lounge room. There was one shot of a particular fella, grandfather, sitting down saying that we're okay, the house is gone, we've lost everything, but I've got my wife, I've got my 2 daughters, and I've got my grandkids. And when he said grandkids, he choked, he literally choked on a tear, like it just caught him. And that just moved me, and I turned to my wife, I said, we have to try and do something. I'm very grateful that Burrs would have stepped up and given us everything. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do it.
It's called flood relief, but it's not just for the flood victims that you're helping to support.
Well, 50% will be going to the Premier of Queensland Flood Relief Fund, and the other 50% has to stay in WA, because I'm a West Australian bloke through and through, and there are people in Carnarvon that have been forgotten because they've had flooding as well. So 50% of the money stays here and goes to the Lord Mayor's Distress Relief Fund. That money will be separated to the Carnarvon victims of the flood, and another portion of that money will be going to the Lake Clifton fire victims as well.
And who can we expect to see on Tuesday night?
V Capri will be there. There's my band Peace, Love and all that stuff. Courtney Murphy and Murphy's Law will be playing as well. Some of the guys in V Capri have a band called Magnificent Seven. They're going to play. Damien Cripps Band, a local fella who writes some great songs, he'll be on the list. Groove Night Avenue is another local bunch of groupsters that are going to have some fun. Juliet's Diary, great duo, 2 girls who are just fantastic, so we're going to showcase them. And another local fella called Dave Crosby. There's also a few surprises.
So how much are tickets and where can we get them from?
Ticket Tech, get them online. You can get them on the door, but I've got a feeling that they're selling out pretty quickly. But you can go to Ticket Tech or ring the Ticket Tech number. $40 or $45. So if you want to go and dance on the biggest dance floor in the Southern Hemisphere, it's $40 to get in. And all proceeds go to the respective funds. And if you want reserved seating, it's $45, which means that you can dance, kick your shoes off, as they used to, and then sit, and then recuperate, and then get back up and dance.
Perfect. Well, thanks for joining us, Todd, and all the best.
All the best to you.
Thanks.
We're down here on the Perth foreshore next to the bell tower, and I found Glenn Foreman, who's from the Sunday Times. G'day, Glenn.
G'day, mate. How are you?
Very, very well. Now, the reason that we wanted to have a chat with you is that you've recently run an award.
I have.
What was it for?
Best Sports Report.
Let's go for a walk and have a chat about that.
No worries.
So, Best Sports Reporter, what does that actually entail? You get to go to all of the sporting events and pretend that you're, just there to do a job?
I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah. No, well, let's clear it up. It's not Best Sports Reporter. There's many ahead of me in the line. It was Best Sports Report, and I won it for our coverage on the Australian Athletics Championships, which were also the Commonwealth Games selection trials, which were held in Perth in April.
Okay.
And our coverage over that went for a series of weeks, and we did really well. But the thing with these awards is, when you're talking about individual awards like that, they forget to mention everyone else who actually put into it.
There's a team of people in the background.
Oh, absolutely, and there's so many more people who deserve just as much, if not more, credit for the award. From my sports editor Glenn Quartermain for giving me the space, to the athletes for giving me their time, and everything in between. From the moment the idea comes out to publication. If anyone in that link says no, then the story's gone. So I have probably the easiest job out of everyone.
So the award itself, that you received, what was that actually for? What was the story?
The story was the piece that actually won it was a story I did with Steve Hooker, or in relation to Steve Hooker. Now, Steve was offered a paycheck of I think it was $10,000 to break the world record if he did it in Perth. Now that's all well and good, and everyone had covered that. But we thought something that would be better would be to get in touch with the world record holder, who's a Ukrainian by the name of Sergei Bubka. I contacted him in the hope that he'd get back, and meanwhile, I've been working on it for probably about 2 weeks, and the Nationals were the weekend after, so it was that weekend or bust. If we didn't get it up in the next few days, it wasn't going to happen. And he actually replied to me. And I was amazed that it came through because of just how many people we were relying on. And he agreed to answer a few questions, and we did that, and his replies and his answers actually came through the morning of when we had to go to press. So,
good timing.
yeah, so it was very good. But see, that just highlights exactly what I mean about it being a team effort.
Congratulations on the award. What does the future hold for you now?
I really enjoy doing what I'm doing. I really enjoy the team I work in. Glenn Quartermain is one of the best bosses to work under. The freedom he gives you and just the ability, and he gives you time on stories that some people might not, and he sees merit in some stories that some people might not. So yeah, he's a great boss to work under, and I'll continue working under him for as long as my future's here. So
fantastic. All right, well, congratulations again, and lovely meeting you.
Thanks, mate.
And I'll leave you to wander around down here at the foreshore, and we'll carry on with the show. Congratulations.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers.
At this year's Australia Day fireworks, designated drinking areas have been introduced in order to increase attendance numbers. However, police are concerned as they won't be able to monitor the limit. We're asking the people of Perth if they think the BYO areas will attract or detract crowds. Do you think the BYO areas are a good idea?
I think they would be a good idea because it's going to separate the underage drinkers from the mature drinkers, and hopefully there'll be less problems.
I suppose if you're going to drink, there's a zone where you can go and you don't just disturb the families that don't want to drink and stuff.
We can't sort of nurse people, but can set some guidelines down, and I think it's a good idea.
Yes, definitely, because not many people went last year.
Do you think that maybe that people are drinking alcohol this year, that the violence will increase?
Yeah, I think it's like in average country. Not many people when drink and it's hot weather. Sometimes people overreact, and yeah, sometimes it is like that.
Because people get wasted all the time and start fights.
Oh, definitely alcohol does that, yeah. It's one of the side effects.
Yeah, you get a small fringe of people that can't control, but most of the time it's cool. But banning it all together, most people go, I'm not going now.
That's why people go to Skyworks, to have a beer and watch the fireworks,
And will you be attending Skyworks on Australia Day?
I hope so. I'm going for a trip, so hopefully I will get on time, and yes, I'm looking forward, so because I've never seen it. So.
No, I won't. Because too many drunks around. I'd rather stay home and be safe, kind of thing.
Finally tonight, reporter Stephanie Lee spoke with translator and linguist Frank Palmos about his translation of The Sorrow of War, a Vietnamese book about the war.
I'm here with Frank Palmos, who translated Vietnamese literary classic The Sorrows of War by Bao Ninh. What kind of difficulties are there in translating a novel like this one?
You've got to get inside the head of the author. Once you're inside the mind and you live the war with them, you then have to be a sufficiently talented writer to recreate that situation in English. If you do a translation just word for word, as a lot of, computer type translations do, it will fail.
So there was obviously a lot of emotional content. How did you deal with living and breathing the book for that long?
I didn't deal all that well with it, but as I was alone, no one knew that I was crying about certain things. I don't think you need to defend yourself on these things. If that's the way you feel about it, that's damn sure the way the author was feeling about it as he was writing.
So when you're translating, how much does it help being able to converse with the author?
With Bao Ninh, it didn't help much. I asked him a couple of questions, but it didn't help much. I think that was all he had in his life. That was all out, it was the one race, it was the one project, it was the magnificent achievement of his life, and I don't think there was very much more for him. In hit tunes they call it one-hit wonders, but that's a rotten thing to say about this. No matter what he does now in life, he's achieved something of extraordinary value. Without translators, or interpreters for that matter, the world couldn't share in these stories.
What's your favourite thing about translating?
Let me go back a little bit. I prefer my correspondence work as just a foreign correspondent above everything else. My work in Indonesia during the coup and the civil wars and so on like that. I used to translate for the Communist Party, for example, the Communist Party leader. And I knew the two leaders fairly well. Now, I did it because it was my business, like you, as a reporter. But when the leaders' backs were turned, I used to see the mad fanatics, the communist fanatics, say to me, you might be helping our leader now, but when the revolution comes, you're going to cop it. Oh boy. And one of the ones who kept doing it to me, he hated me. I visited him in jail after about a year later.
What did you say to him?
I said, the door opened the wrong way for you.
Just doing this to him.
I didn't remind him of that. He didn't need reminding that it was supposed to be me that was they would have killed me. Yeah. Yes. Oh, well, at least he just got jailed.
So a bit more than normal work pressure then.
Oh, it was a lot of pressure. I had an escape route for me from my house out through south of Java and on a salt ship out to the islands and so on like that. I had that always planned.
Thank you very much for talking to us.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
That's all we have time for tonight. Some of the things we've got for you next week. Jeremy's back to talk about working for the dole, and Nick catches up with local philanthropist Ros Worthington. If you'd like to get involved with Undercurrent, or you've got a story that you think we should cover, please get in touch with us here at West TV. This is your show about your city, and we'd love to hear from you. Your feedback is a very important part of how we put the show together. Why not visit our website at wtvperth.com.au. We'll be back next week, and we'd love to have your company again. Many thanks to our fantastic production team here at Undercurrent. You've done a job that we can all be proud of. I'm Jason Jordan. Good night.